Hi guys, welcome to the Libra new moon video. And this new moon is really gonna pack a really big punch. Um, you saw the thumbnail in the beginning. The Libra new moon meditation is tonight, Tuesday night. It's at 8 p.m. Eastern time. You have time to sign up. I think the signups end, I think it's an hour before it starts. It might be 2 hours. So make sure that you don't wait, because I won't be checking my phone or anything like that to see, like, if you email me and you're like, oh my gosh, I missed the signups, because that happens often. Just make sure, like, at least 2 hours, If you'd like to be a part of that, that link is in the description box as well for the signups. So let's look and see. Got the chart here. So the Libra new moon is happening tomorrow morning, Wednesday morning, at 7:05 a.m. Eastern time. So wherever you are in the world, whatever 7:05 a.m. Eastern time is for you. I'm doing this in Central, so you can see that it's in Central time there. So we have the sun and the moon here. So a new moon is conjunct, a new moon is when the moon is conjunct the sun. But we also have the Mars Cazimi happening at the same time. So this Mars conjunct sun, conjunct moon, this is that big punch. This is that big bang that we're talking about. This Libra new moon is going to be really, really good for manifesting. You know, Libra is the relationship house of our birth charts. So, and Libra is ruled by Venus. So really the values that you have in relationships, and if you think about how much that's changed in the last couple of years, after everything that we've all been through with the pandemic, if your values are exactly the same as they were before the pandemic, then I feel like you didn't really learn much. And we're still in the midst of it. We're still, you know, really having to take care of ourselves and you know, make sure that we're taking care of each other at the same time. And so the values are really different. Societal values are starting to look really different, and people are starting to fight back because the patriarchy, the way that, you know, the relationships, the marriage relationships, the friendship relationships, everybody's relationships were really based on, you know, like what was going to ease what's going to ease my mind, or, you know, like we get very personal. We take things very personally when it comes to relationships. And we're just sort of, we were raised and programmed and conditioned to believe that relationships, that, you know, love hurts, and that relationships are pain, you know, just pure pain and all of that. And a lot of it is because we place expectations on people, and we place expectations on people based on what society tells us to do that. And that's all changing. That whole mindset, that whole thought process that you have to make me feel better about myself is changing. And we see it daily. Like, we're really starting to see it. And even if it's in very small ways or in very small communities, it's spreading, and people are starting to recognize, oh wow, like I don't need somebody. Like, yes, we are supposed to be in relationships. We're humans. We're part of community. You know, we were built to be a part of community. We were built to be in relationships with people, but we weren't built to make that relationship an end all, or that relationship defines who I am, kind of thing. That was the program. That was the condition that we were shown, that the relationships were supposed to define us. And that's all really changing. And you can see here also, we have, you know, this taking action on really what it is that we value. And you know, Libra's about balance and justice. And I think that this is going to be one of those things where people are recognizing how fed up they are. And I don't, you know, I mean, there's a lot of different ways that this can happen. Like, I'm not one of those astrologers that's going to start predicting that certain things happening in the government, or certain things happening with entertainment, with famous people or whatever. Like, I'm not going to do that kind of stuff. But I will say that I think that this new moon is going to be very revealing. I think that there's a lot of people that, we went through this huge moment in the summer. Was it early summer last year? Where everything was just, kind of brought to the surface. Like, there were so many things that were revealed. And I feel like that's what this is going to be, another one of those moments in time where this new moon is going to be very revealing, and people are going to start taking action on, they're not just going to stand on the sidelines anymore. Like, it's really time to fight for those values. Part of that is because this quincunx to Uranus and Taurus. And this also, I feel like a lot of shifts with money, with Bitcoin, with crypto, with all of that. Like, there was the news today that Bitcoin hit that 50,000 mark. I mean, I'm not surprised. With Mars in Libra, Cazimi to the sun, sure, yeah. Quincunx, Uranus and Taurus. Uranus and Taurus has been changing the face of money for the entire, from the moment that he hit Taurus in 2018. Like, it's, there's this desire for our values, for things, for the monetary stuff to start to be different, to look different, because we value it in a different way. It looks, money isn't valued in the same way to a lot of people as it used to be, because we see the power and control behind it. And if you can't separate yourself between the power and control of money, then that's that ego thing. And that's going to be, a really difficult, so many wounds behind money, right? That's a difficult wound to heal. That's a difficult place to be in. If you can't separate yourself from your monetary means, from what your life looks like and your own personal value, this is going to be a difficult time, because that's changing too. And so when we look at that as a whole, when we look at it as like a collective energy, those are the kinds of things that this new moon is going to be revealing. When we look at it on a more personal level, so I wrote down, it's very interesting because the quincunx is about two signs that it's a 150-degree angle, and we have, we have the sun, the moon, and Mars. Quincunx exact Uranus up here in Taurus. And it's a quincunx is generally two signs that don't really have anything in common. And it's funny because Libra and Taurus are actually ruled by the same sign, but they're ruled in completely different ways. Very much like how Gemini and Virgo are ruled by Mercury, but in completely different ways. So Libra and Taurus are both ruled by Venus, Taurus being the luxury, the indulgent side of Venus, and Libra being the aesthetic and the relationship side of Venus. And so when we have this quincunx here, there's a tension involved. And I feel like because it's Mars and Uranus, there's going to be this massive shift, I mean, we can talk about explosions, maybe. Like, the last time Mars and Uranus, I think Mars was square Uranus, is when the ocean caught fire. I think I even tweeted a couple of days before that happening, like, this T-square involving Mars, Saturn, and Uranus, there's going to be a big explosion, and then the ocean caught on fire, for Pete's sake. I don't think an ocean's going to catch on fire this time by any means. I mean, this is like a lot of air energy happening. So if anything, it wouldn't be an ocean. It would probably be, I mean, I don't even want to predict any negative things happening. So, but yeah, like, this is going to cause a lot of tension, and those restrictions, that tension, those restrictions, those are like the big red signs. Those are like the road signs of trying to show you this is what needs to change. This is not working. Whether it's the environment, whether it's the situation, whether it's the person, it doesn't matter. And when I say that it needs to change, it needs to evolve in some way. And that means that if it's you and for example, if it's you and a person in a relationship and both of you are kind of looking at each other like, I don't know what to do anymore about this. Where you're in like survival mode in your relationship is what I would call it. And you've tried everything and you've really worked on it and it's been a long time and it's been months and you've been pushing and pushing. And even if you've had to separate and then come back together or whatever, you did everything and it's drowning. This is that moment where you look at each other and you say, we did all we could, right? If you're in the very beginnings of it, of survival mode in a relationship, or you're starting to feel the tension in the relationship, that's the time this is the time when you decide what is it that I value from this? And if what I'm valuing from this, does that actually sit well with me? Like, am I placing my value on this relationship because of the way that it looks to other people? Because of we've been together for so long, we're staying for the kids, we're doing this or whatever, all of the reasons, right? And then those relationships that are either in the beginning, generally doing well, you've been together for a really long time, it's going to wrestle up some things as well, but it's going to show you how to shift and evolve your relationship together. So, and we have even these two signs. The ruler, Venus, she'll be shifting into the last degree, the anaretic degree of Scorpio. And so when we have a planet at the anaretic degree, it's a very fated kind of degree. And things, I usually like to have people look back at what that planet showed them during the time that it was in that, and look for the lesson there. Look for the things that you were supposed to pay attention to during the time that Venus transited Scorpio. Did an X come back with Mercury retrograde, whatever, blah, blah, blah. How did that make you feel? What is it that you learned from that? Were you able to let go? Did you let it go for good? Kind of stuff. Because you don't want to carry that with you into a new energy. You don't want to bring that into a new energy. And then Venus is going to be shifting into Sagittarius tomorrow. And Venus doesn't necessarily enjoy being in Sagittarius. It's not that people that have Venus in Sagittarius are bad. Like, please don't put words into my mouth and say that I said that. Venus just doesn't necessarily, I mean, Sagittarius is a lot, a lot of energy and Venus just isn't really used to that. So that's the easiest way to describe that. So this is going to be a really big change, kind of new moon. And there's also going to be a lot of feeling like it's sort of a full moon at the same time, because we have this great big opposition here with Chiron, and yes, it's a 3-degree orb, so it's not an exact opposition that's happening with Chiron and the moon, the sun, and Mars. But Chiron in Aries has really been showing us how to show up for ourselves and really stand up for ourselves and recognize the warrior within us in whatever way that's been happening for you. There's, this Chiron and Aries transit. I, for myself, have really learned how to stand up and be an advocate for myself in a lot of ways. And I think that even, this was, the last time Chiron was in Aries, it was in the 70s. And that was really when it was women's liberation and the feminist movement and the burning of the bras and like all of that stuff, right? And I don't think that it's going to become that. I think that there are other civil rights things that are kind of have more of a forefront right now. But I do feel like, there's this big warrior, Chiron in Aries is a warrior, and Chiron in Aries has been retrograde for, I don't remember when he went retrograde, but this has been very revealing to really show us the stuff that, like how powerful we really are, and the things that, we're not wounded and we're not victims, and we, play our own roles in our own lives. And so having this opposition and having an opposition to anything is kind of like a full moon energy. So there's a lot of taking action on completions, on, there's like final decisions that are being made. There's like, this, I'm not going to stand for this kind of, BS anymore. And that doesn't have to necessarily be in like romantic relationships. That could be with work relationships, coworkers, any relationships that you have with people that are, close to you, that it's going to be that Libra kind of relationship. And so there's a lot of quote unquote justice being taken, if you will, with this new moon. And so, yeah, so it is really a lot about making sure that we've made space to evolve our relationships, to create more relationships, to have better relationships. When I say better relationships, I mean better for us, like our personal, better for our own personal who we are. So yeah, not just better for how it's going to be for everybody, because everybody needs different things out of relationships. No two people are the same on what their, desires are with another person. So that's going to be different for everybody. So be discerning with that. Let's look at the cards to see what we can get out of this new moon. I am using the Sun and Moon Tarot deck. My partner gave it to me, and I really like it. So, let's see. Oh, yeah. Nice. So there's something, and there's definitely something about working together. So this may show you different ways of how you what it is that you need to do in order to work with people in a different kind of way. Or let's see what these cards are. Oh, yeah. Oh, wow. So the whole... Excuse me, there's something in my eye. Okay. So we've got the Three of Pentacles and the Three of Cups. And this is what I'm talking about, like learning how to work with each other and build new foundations. And, on the top here, it says abundance for the Three of Cups, and it says works for the Three of Pentacles. So there's really and this is new. This, Three of Pentacles is building a new foundation, something that's much sturdier and much stronger than it was before. And then we have the Five of Wands, right? So I really feel like a lot of us are going to start learning how to work with people better and how to make it mean something. How are we working together to make it, as a society, as a community, as a collective, to make it mean something instead of arguing with each other all the time, right? The Five of Wands is about, it's strife. It's about the petty arguments. On the bottom, we have the Seven of Swords, the Queen of Wands, and the Two of Swords. That's really interesting. I feel like, even though with this Two of Swords, I feel like the Two of Swords in this position is more about brushing things under the rug. And so when the arguments happen, when it feels like we've been betrayed with the Seven of Swords, there's this, the Queen of Wands is here. And so we hold on to the anger. We have the, it's still burning, right? Like, look at all of that fire. It's still burning there. But this is that moment where we have to choose, are we going to just ignore it? Are we going to brush it under the rug again? Or are we going to take the blindfold off and put the swords down? Because that's more of a defensive stance. It's like pleading the fifth. I feel like the Two of Swords is so apathetic. It's like pleading the fifth. I don't even care to make the decision. I don't even want to. Very much sitting in the corner, doing that part. So because of a because sometimes kind of betrayal, but I think the betrayal is being, and I think it's being brought to light. After this Mercury retrograde happens, there are going to be so many things that people are going to be like, oh, dang. That's why. Like, I think the whole Facebook and Instagram thing going down, I think that'll be revealed, how all of that happened. It's just like, let's see what this Three of Pentacles is. But there's definitely a desire to find a new way, find a new balance, find a new foundation, find a way to build a new foundation. So let's see, Three of Pentacles. Yeah. And there will be those tense moments of doubt, right? Like we're going to doubt ourselves. And that's that Chiron triggering that tension, that resistance, that thing. Because a lot of the times the tension and the resistance is your own fighting, is your own, like, this is weird, hold on. My Moldavite is all twisted up. That was funny. But yeah, that tension is you fighting against your own self. Like it's nobody else doing that to you. It's you creating it. Let's see what the Three of Cups is, because there's some kind of abundance that's coming out of Five of Wands. Okay. So on the Three of Pentacles, we have the Nine of Swords. They were really just slid right out of my hand. That's funny. Okay, so on the Three of Pentacles, we have the Nine of Swords. And that's the anxiety. That's the tension. That's that Mars, quincunx, Uranus. But, and then we have the Four of Cups on the Three of Cups. So we have to really be willing to see. We have to, because in the Nine of Swords, we're not going to see what the universe is trying to provide for us. Look at those moons, those full moons. So this 2 weeks between the new moon and the full moon, and the fact that we have these two moon cards, we've got to talk about it. These 2 weeks are going to be a really, really big time for you to start manifesting. I think I have a hair in my mouth. Hold on. Like, it's driving me crazy. It's going to be really great for you to start manifesting and to allow yourself to see something better from that different place that you're, the values that you now have, and not based on the ones from the past. But you won't be able to see it if you're sitting in the Nine of Swords. And then we have the Seven of Pentacles on the Five of Wands. Sometimes that Five of Wands is the argument that we have with ourselves, and the Seven of Swords can be our own sabotage to self. So if you're not fighting in a or if you're not trying to save a relationship, there's something about the relationship that you're having with yourself as well, with that Chiron and Aries. Because Aries is the self. Aries is the relationship we have with ourselves, and Libra is the relationship we have with other people. So that Seven of Pentacles on the Five of Wands, if you are talking yourself out of things, if you're telling yourself it's not going to work, it's not going to be able to do it, this new moon is going to show you where those limiting beliefs are coming from, and learning how to have that relationship with yourself and healing that relationship with yourself is going to be a really big thing. So, but also don't let other people tell you that you can't do it. If that Five of Wands is other people telling you all of the ways that you're not going to be able to manifest that Seven of Pentacles, those relationships are not it. Those people have like zero business being in a friendship with you or a relationship with you. You want to have people around you that are building you up and cheering you on and telling you, and if they do have criticisms, they're constructive criticisms. It's not just making you feel bad to make themselves feel better. Exactly. The Prince of Swords, which is the Page of Swords. Sorry, the Knight of Swords is the Prince of Swords. On the Seven of Swords, yeah, the arguments. There's definitely going to be projections that are happening during this new moon. That's what I mean about the full moon stuff. Like things are going to be, people and things are going to be revealed. Because they need to be, so we can take action, so we can move forward, so we can evolve, so we can keep going. It's not just to drive you crazy. It's not to make you feel bad. It's not to bring destruction into your life. That's not the point. The point is to help all of us grow. And if we aren't evolving and we're just standing still, then what's the point? So let's see what this Queen of Wands is. Because I do feel a lot of this is about the warrior inside of all of us. And the Queen of Wands is definitely, I mean, if you look at her, she has a jaguar. She has a cheetah, sorry. Yeah. Sitting next to her. Like, yeah. Okay. Queen of Wands. Oh, there's two that came out. The Seven of Cups and the Strength card. Nice. And I really feel like in a lot of ways that if you recognize where those restrictions and where those tensions are, and you realize that you actually have more power in your life than you think you do. You know what I mean? It's like when you realize that you have all the power to change everything in your life and all you have to do is decide to like go with your heart. Like the Seven of Cups is, it might be confusing for you at first, but that's where the strength is. That's where the warrior is, right? And it doesn't matter how people are projecting onto you as you're doing it. I feel like a lot of people are recognizing how much the people in their lives have held them back from moving like forward on their purpose. I think a lot of that's going to be happening with this new moon. For sure. And there's that Strength card again, has that moon behind it. But there's the Seven of Cups is you have a lot of options. And I know it can be really, really confusing to stand up for yourself and be like, I don't need to be in this situation anymore. I don't need to be here anymore. And again, it doesn't have to be romantic. I don't want people to just be like thinking that everybody's gonna, all like marriages are gonna end or romantic relationships are gonna end or whatever. Like this is all relationships. Two of Swords. And the Two of Swords is a very Libra thing to do, to just kind of ignore the situation, brush it under the rug. I was married to a Libra. He and I get along just fine now, and we did even when we were married, but the reason why we got along is because, and I'm a Libra rising, right? So we would brush things under the rug all the time and just not deal with it, and it would just be like, whatever, like we would just decide it wasn't worth it, right? We would keep the peace. And that's such a thing for this Two of Swords card. So let's see, because we don't want to brush things under the rug. We don't want to just pretend that things don't exist, right? So we have the King of Pentacles came out on the Two of Swords. So really it's about allowing ourselves to be grounded and kind of firm, but like a surety about ourselves. And instead of making quick and fast decisions or allowing ourselves to just ignore, we have to be willing to be able to stand our ground and be strong and firm about it. But also for some of you, you have either a fire sign in your life or an earth sign in your life, or both, that have to, there's this evolution that's happening with you and that other person. And and you can't allow yourself to sit within how the world tells you that things have to be in order for you to evolve yourself, in order for you to evolve the other relationships in your life. It could be with several people in your life that this is happening as well. So really interesting reading. There's also the Knight of Pentacles. Under on the bottom of the deck. And so taking your time, there's so much about taking your time too, because, we live in such an instant gratification world that I feel like if we allowed ourselves to be more in the present, my partner tells me that all the time, like he always wants me to be a little bit more present than I am. And so we have to practice and learn how to do that as well. And slowing down, really, really slowing down. That's what the Knight of Pentacles teaches us, is to really slow down, pay attention to the details, especially since it's Mercury retrograde. Things can be a little bit hairy. So thanks for hanging out with me, guys. And I hope you have a wonderful new moon. I would love to see you in the meditation. And I have a really great October. See you later.